Well, with the groundwater levels in Florida, we fairly have no experience with cellars, but if you go to mountainous areas, you literally have tunnel systems for storage. And they call it actually now, if you go out for a drink in summertime, you go up to the face. Because you go up into the hill and go in there. And it's nice and consistently warm or cold. Cave systems, Kentucky Mammoth Cave. If you ever want to go on a road trip, you need a warm sweater, winter gear for Florida. Alright, ground textures before lunch. Fine versus coarse textures. Fine fits into the context. Something that doesn't interrupt. That's my definition of it. Longs put a number on the grain, but it has to have something what you can say beautiful, not disruptive, versus coarse, draws attention, and builds separation. And both can guide circulation. Last week, we talked about patterns, channels, and circulation. So if I change the texture of my floor, I create pathways. You will follow these pathways even without knowing that it is a pathway or the idea of a pathway. Unless you're Jason who says, okay, show this line through. What are kind of textures we talk? Huh? Oh, you're going to have that slide. You're going to have that slide. So, what kind of textures do we have? And I found some sketches that differ between hard texture and soft texture, or fine versus coarse versus fine. And believe it or not, I found that via Pinterest. But it gives you, even in a black and white sketch, the idea of, that separates something, that unsets a little bit my mood. Like if I look at you right now, it's like, what does he mean with this? What is this here? So the question now, am I looking at the wall? Or am I looking at the floor?
Could be both. Well, yeah, it could be both.
Could be both.
Could be both.
Yeah.
And that's the disturbing part right now, because we don't have the 3D concept how we should perceive this. This, we had the Edgar Hoover building. This could be like, almost like holes in a wall. Could be a grid as a separator. Yeah? Could be those glass blocks with concrete crown. Right. Yeah? But also could be pavers with grass if it's on the floor.
Right.
Yeah? That's pretty much a brick or a tile.
Right.
Yeah? This is more natural stone. I have a picture like that in a minute. Yeah? Same thing here. This is, just look at this and just try to figure out, have you seen patterns like this before?
Yep.
Did you like them?
Yep. Now all the time.
Give me an example for that.
Isn't that wood top? The tiling. Wood
Could be
floor.
tiling,
Yeah.
could be wood, could be
Yeah.
paneling, yeah? Could be anything without that knowledge of the extra additional material. Same thing here, soft skin textures. Yeah? This looks more like a basket, like one of those.
Yeah. It's funny because that's what architects use to show like a subgrade.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dirt.
How you do dirt, exactly. Yeah? Or I could use this just to show this is a ceiling.
Right.
This is one sketch in the book.
It's like hatching.
Yeah, there's one sketch in the book where you basically look at that room, and then you have some of this as a ceiling, versus the next sketch is it has plants and people standing. It's an example of scale, whether you wink it or not. You know? So, depending on this, you also find an explanation by a consulting group, a Transtech group here as an example. Texture can be safety too. When we think texture as roadways, Are you doing a dirt road versus blacktop versus paver stones
Versus concrete.
versus concrete? Sealed concrete versus non-sealed concrete. Yeah? And you see here that there's also a difference. Here something about wavelengths. I would think that's a part of sound in this case. But they put in here, key is good for green, bad is red. You have tire wear, dry weather friction, wet weather friction, splash and spray, tire pavement noise. Yeah? The more rough a surface is, the more noise you can make. Yeah? Versus ride quality vehicle wear. But what's the bias on that diagram? Yes.
Question: how does the tire wear bad under a softer material?
I would need to look that up. I'm not the engineer, but we had an experience in the past in a similar context when we talk about environmental quality. The introduction of particle filters in your exhaust system actually changed the particle dust components in traffic because dust pieces of different size merge and drop out of the air. So if you don't have a specific type of dust size anymore in the air, particle filter on your diesel engines, then you have more rubber dust apparently in the area. So I don't know to which extent the tire wear, how this works in the physics. Yeah? Ready for some pictures? Yeah. Bias on this one?
Because the company's talking about itself.
I don't know what to find. That's the reason it says source PIARC. I need to research it. But I thought it's an interesting concept to show, depending on your texture you have in place, you have different variables how that texture will impact you. In this case, what's the bias on this diagram? Texture impacts all users of that space. This is car-centric. Car and trucks. Doesn't talk about bicycles, doesn't talk about walking.
Vehicle-centric.
Vehicle-centric. Yeah? So that's nice when it comes to noise, depending on what kind of pavement you need. Yeah? There's also drainage blacktop, where you actually have water drain through the top level of your street. Noise reduction concrete and blacktop nowadays, but it adds dimensions to it. Do we need to understand all this? No,
Yes.
but we need, no, not
Well, I
completely
tell
in
you what,
detail.
I live in a condo, and we prohibit hard surface, because when people walk upstairs, they keep people below.
Yeah.
Where's it coming from?
In general, we don't need to know that, down to the science. But the understanding is you need to present somewhat a comprehensive feeling, perspective, understanding on if I use different materials for the street or for the flooring, you will have to have certain quality of life and cost factors. If you deal with flooring, if you're cheap on the underlayment, that foam pattern on hardwood floor, you hear everyone click, clack, click, clack, click, clack. Yeah? 30 cents more per square foot, and nobody complains about it. But you need to cost factor that in somewhat.
That just means the sound barrier between floors sucks.
No, but most floors are made from concrete, and you need to provide some kind of attenuators, noise attenuation material.
So it goes down to the really tiny detail of those 2 inches, how you deal with that floor, or even half an inch. Sound barrier. If you're cheap on the sound barrier, you're not going to be happy. All right, textures. So I found this one in South England. Yeah. All right. Who says this is nice?
Not for walking.
Not for walking,
Not for walking.
So what are those folks doing?
So this is neighborhood alley, small street apparently. It's old, as you can see, in terms of the bricks on the side, so it's old organic. Everyone was nice. Would you like to repeat what you said?
No, I just remember in Greece it was like this, and we were out, but I was in heels in this, so this is murder.
This
Absolutely.
is a
That's what I'm
angle
saying.
killer.
Yeah.
It's like
Walking.
and you're done with
You're
it.
done.
You can't, even with sneakers, it's
It's
long-term hurting.
Yeah.
It's great for your mountain bike to check the shockers on
Yeah,
your
get some vibration.
bike. But it's certainly appealing, but you also can see some different patterns. This is all about patterns and texture. You can see the patterns and the texture on the walls. They change a little bit. Here's a little plaster on different other stone. You see the sidewalk. Interesting is that the manhole here, I guess that's utilities, is on the sidewalk.
I don't think that's design, I think that's just the concrete part for.
But it's also the way maybe over a few hundred years how
Oh, yeah,
it's
that was a
so
custom several years
Yeah.
ago.
But you can see here, this is kind of the gutters, the drainage area. Yeah. Different appeal to it. Let's float this up a little bit.
Oh, boy.
Found this as an example from Italy. Those are fist-sized stones, river stone characters. Yeah, that's not crafted like real brick. Like you go to medieval towns, say in Germany, and find this black basalt blocks, square blocks, like almost dies. But this is handcrafted in here, the old plaza, yeah, in Mantua, Italy. Found that on actually a motorcycle block, which was kind of funny to see. But the texture is, this picture actually shows a little bit more what you look at, yeah, but in a complete other corner of Europe. Looks great, it's beautiful, but for daily use, I don't know. You know, pedestrian zone. You can see this is actually complete pedestrian zone. Here's actually some blockage. That's the street and parking. Yeah. Has a complete different function. Again, we sense spaces differently. We separate materials differently as well. Yeah. Example from Germany. City of Würzburg, Northern Bavaria. Texture and structure and separation. So all this is pretty much blacktop. Yeah. Separation is, you can see here a little bit offset, that's curbside. Yeah, curb goes a little bit down here. Small island for pedestrians to cross. This is the worst thing I experienced in my life in cycling in Europe. That red color. This is actually like a reddish asphalt color. It's not brick. It's basically used to be blacktop, and they just painted it. Like they did the striping here with white and reflective, like soap. If you have a road bike, if you have a regular road bike like slicks on it, no profile on the texture on the bike,
No treads.
no dredge, yeah. It's like you put a bar of soap into your bathtub and you jump into the bathtub. Good luck with that. Decades still after that, that's most hurtful bike accidents I ever had, is slipping on those red. Because they're not all over the place, they're only in the endangered areas where you as a cyclist get endangered, aka intersections. So if you're biking fast and then you have the red light, and you need to stop and you pull the brakes,
Forget about it.
you slide.
So
Slide
it's
and
meant
crash.
for you to slide, but no for you to stop.
Oh, if you're fast enough, you slide and slip. Like on a bounce.
Lose control.
It's like ice. Visual constraints. Now let's see something we have seen earlier before. Somewhat different patterns here, flat. Notice there's different colors. Yeah. Somewhere at the beach. Random picture I found. Yeah.
That's a bit of art.
A bit of art. Actually, if you're far away, you see a little bit more texture how it comes out. But it looks more like, hey, I can stroll around. I don't have to high speed this whole thing, you know. Take some time. A little bit more here, beachside. Somewhat the idea of create some space with a tree. Some sitting area, beach baskets. And then here again, different patterns, different sizes of tiles and brick. Gives you a different perception of the space. Yeah? If you compare that to, what is it, State Street 1, Los Alamos,
Boulevards.
Yeah, and then go up north. If you look at that, how that separates the beach versus the developments there, different approach. Separation through patterns, last two pictures on that, is also interesting to see that you have here the stop sign coming in, you have here kind of an interface zone for pedestrian crossing, yeah? Instead of the white stripes, you change the pattern. Last session we had this example about this is the drawing of a shopping center and this is the real world. And you can remember there was this red brick as a pattern. Same thing here, different colors, different type of material, changes. Then this is actually formed brick nowadays, textured brick. This is concrete, textured brick, concrete. It's not anymore single stones put in place. So no, it's done by a machine automatically. So that's technically concrete in one piece. Again, different texture, different assumption of speed. Again, the idea is, if you see a road like this is definitely not a 55 zone. This is walking speed. This is if you have a manual shift gear, you run first gear and let it, or automatically let it idle and just roll through. You feel like on the off-road. Yeah? So I hope that gave you a little bit of impression on, hey, next time I walk through some space across campus or in downtown, start absorbing different materials with the context of this class. Yeah? Don't look just into the windows on the first floor, second or third. Is that storage, office, restaurant, or residential already? Yeah? The observation of real world space, not just in our hometown, but across regions and across the globe, adds to our experience how we transform spaces. Yeah? So in preparation of this class, I think I have a slide on this, looking up for sounds, I found tons of pictures that have now waterfalls inside the building to use the water coming down the flat wall as an absorption factor for sounds in that building, besides creating a little bit bubbly sound as water. Yeah? So that fact is an advancement again for a learning curve. Complete trees, plants, indoors, outdoors, water, different texture can change the whole thing around your building. It's not just white and black, or marble anymore. It's how you texture it. You know? It's how you create that place. Again, there's a whole discipline that's called placemaking and place branding, placemaking. So if we design new buildings, design sites, we create places. It starts with the most important place you have. Home sweet home. Are you choosing a leather couch or a fabric textured couch? 2-seater versus a 55-seater. Just making up. Like the whole apartment is couch versus just one corner. Yeah? Different arrangement, different sizing, different cost. Leather couch a little bit more expensive than just a love seat. Yeah? Starts at your house, doesn't end with your site plan on your development, because you add to the larger picture that is a neighborhood or a region, depending on the project. If you build something like the Soccer Mall, that is a regional impact beyond region versus 150 condos in a nice subdivision. Huh? All right, plants. Plant, we should probably get lunch then. Huh? So he's talking about plants. Ground form we talked. Texture we talked. We talked about plants in an interesting way, and there's later on, I think chapter 13 goes really into detail with even the silhouette, the sketches of those plants. But the plants is important because what does he say about plants? What does he say about plants? What's the general take on Lynch's talk about plants?
Environmental.
Environmental, what else? He's using plants as material to advance your space in your site. Huh? A plantless thing is a thing. If you put plants into it, you create something different. Yeah? The interesting thing is that it's judging the trees on plantless areas, judging the tree or plantless areas. My personal experience example is parking lots. The last 2 decades we have seen that there is, with more sustainability and now water control, there's now a trend to actually have green islands, better drainage areas for parking lots. But if you look at the old school parking lot of a football stadium, the only topography you will see on this one is leftover barbecue grills and the striping on the parking lot.
Plants provide a very soft landscaping as well. You got hard landscaping and soft landscaping.
So the important part, what comes here, is plants are one of the fundamental landscape materials. That's a quote from page number 73. Plants are one of the fundamental landscape materials. We talked earlier about the site analysis, where we take a look at the topography and if there are rocks or vegetation in place. He is using the example that with the right type of brush, I can create a barrier or an incentive for movement on that site by watching it or by literally walking around it. In a brush or some vegetation works like a wall, works like a rock. Can be a fence. Instead of a 5-foot concrete wall, I can use hedges and twigs. Yeah? What's more likely to impress me as livable space? Well, some vegetation versus a green painted concrete wall. So there's a concern here about the grouping and the sizing of the plants at the site level. Yeah? And the idea is also that how we are using plants in site planning. The idea is we can use them as visuals and improvement. We can use them as screening and as barriers. We can use them as gateway and corridor functions. Remember, there's one example where you had those trees, beautiful, walking into the gazebo, and then the next picture, the real world picture was like small fir trees. There's no gateway function for this. It's lost capital in space. And I was like, why? I don't really want to walk over there. I don't want to sit over there. There's no shade, nothing. The interesting part is he's taking a really good step on trees. And this is where you can see that the book is an older work, because we changed in the past decades, we changed the way we deal with trees and basically with urban forestry. Now we have specialists that carve out old trees if they're infected and restore them. If you ever make it to France, you can see trees that actually carved into the stem, like small caves inside, with steel reinforcement so they don't break apart, and they're like epoxy filled.
But
they're still living, still growing.
Yeah, arborists.
Yeah. So there's a science really behind that. Instead of chopping off 100-something-year-old tree, you invest money to use this. We will have second part of the lecture today. We talk about urban climate and how important trees are going to be for that. Yeah. And the argument here is that you need to preserve the tree, and also if you displace them for a new site, you will hurt them. You can't displace a tree after a certain age and maturity. Well, technology, that's the fascinating part, certainly helped in the past now. We actually now have machinery which comes in and holds the whole tree, pulls it around it with the whole roots, or most of them, and pulls it up. YouTube it, it's fascinating. Yeah.
Transplant.
Fascinating. Just the fact that you have actually specialized transport like this already means there's a whole industry prepared for that.
Yep.
That is the difference between a book written in the early 60s versus like yesterday. That also means that if you can cost factor it in the right way, you should not have a 3-foot tiny plant that will die in the next drought. you should consider if you put that on your design and on your site plan for make it nice looking, you should consider that palm tree in its full size, because we have the technology to support that. That's like you also should consider to build a house with an air conditioning unit, air conditioning system, and it will not just plan on everyone buys window units. That's
How about planting oak trees underneath power lines?
That's an interesting thing, because depending on where the power line goes, power line might be only eligible for that passage because of an easement. Yeah? So the utility company has an easement on that for specific use.
Yeah, but you'll see new developments being put in where there's existing power lines, but yet they're planting new saplings of oak trees and trees that are going to grow only to be, have to be cut and manicured by FP&L.
That
Constantly.
depends on the type of tree you're putting in
That's-
and the height of the power line, and then to be really finicky of what's the minimum distance proximity between the power line and that tree, because we know electricity goes different ways. It's not just the cable running, it's the air underneath it and the moisture content of it. Yeah? So if you've ever been underneath a power line, you hear this sounds. Yeah? That's electrostatic air between those wires. I don't know. I know that power companies spend a tremendous amount in both ways. Trimming and pruning trees that are interfering with existing power lines, particularly on the residential line. Because my example was like cross country, like super high power. Like you have a real tower versus just a pole. Trimming that was a thing. Depending on the local municipality, there might be actually code that tells the power company we are allowed to cut for safety purposes and service delivery mandate. We can cut that tree. That's my neighborhood.
Yeah.
I can't appeal if they're not going to cut the stem or the branch at the stem,
Right.
but they're cutting it there,
Right.
and you can't appeal it. My neighbor had issues with that. Now he actually take off the whole tree because it's sick.
But Jason's issue, I believe that there's a lack of coordination between the landscaper, the site planner, and the FP&L or whoever the energy company
Yeah.
is. Because if that is going to be a danger for one or both of the parties, it's a coordination problem, so.
But on the other side, you have energy companies now having actually tree programs. My experience with Idaho Power, I have a beautiful elm and an oak tree, just a year-old piece, like the crown is like this right now, in the front yard and on the other side of the house. Right placed based on their GIS system, and said, okay, we want to put it there, and in 10 years it would have this kind of crown, that height, that growth pattern, because then you actually have shade on your roof, and therefore you have less electricity, which goes back to, remember, the constraints and limitations. It's easier and cheaper for a company, energy producing company, instead of investing $1 billion in new equipment to generate energy, it's cheaper for them to help you to conserve energy in your home, and they still make the profit with it. If your electric bill goes down by $50 a month, they still do a good thing, but it's more expensive for them if you would go up by 50, because the production of that energy at a certain point is not profitable anymore. There's a huge economic concept behind that. So in my case, Idaho Power in Idaho, they really have, you sign up for it, you get 2 trees per house. And they actually have like a tree finder thing by type, crown setting, using online tools. You can say, hey, and then one day you can pick it up for free, plant it, and then here and there they do spot surveys and actually take a look if you actually really planted it the right way. To make sure that over the next 5 to 10 years that tree produces somewhat of shade. Speaking of shade and trees, this is how I learned about those tree digger things. I saw it the first time in Arizona. I found a picture here on the web as well. That's how they actually move in Tucson, Arizona, cactuses as part of their typical landscape. So it's not anymore the nice tree here, it's a cactus. Just because you live in the desert, you want to have the desert parts in front of you. Right. Last few slides, then we did break for lunch. Speak of, is he checking where lunch is?
I think he went to get it.
So perspective, detail, and viewshed. And I put this in a technical context. Yeah? And this is probably one of the very few times where you see me using Wikipedia as a reference.
Yeah.
The Merriam-Webster dictionary.
What's the problem with Wikipedia?
It's not a reference system. Definition of viewshed is the natural environment that is visible from one or more viewing points. So this is not about looking at things. I found that actually more in terms of technical, or GIS world, a little bit more accurate. A viewshed is the geographical area that is visible from a location. It includes all surrounding points that are in line of sight with that location and excludes points that are beyond the horizon or obstructed by terrain and other features. Simply put, if you stand here and you have a wall, and if you view like this, yeah, with technology now we can do this, that you can view all this area here, you can view all this area and just that stretch. Right behind that wall you don't see anything. If the terrain goes up a little bit, maybe at the end you see something behind it. Dead spots. Yeah? So in the GIS world, this is the example you will see in advanced GIS. You're sitting somewhere here on top of a mountain. The off factor here is actually if you would be in a fire tower or watch-out tower, because they're a little higher. And then you have your regular plane, your horizon, and you have different angles and offsets. So now a figure, you can make simple things really complicated, or same thing I like the sketch here. Your software calculates from this point, where can you see and what not, which is very rough in quality, but I thought this one is very interesting. It's actually from a web page where you use viewshed analysis from GIS in 3D space. This is about where to place the security camera. So if you look here carefully, the white lines here, this is where the security camera would be. And this is how the camera goes with its optics, with lenses. And behind the tower, all that red is what you don't see. Technology example, but it's again important. If I have a gateway and walk into a space, depending on what kind of objects I place, I might see or not see them. Typical example in the planning world, site planning, is dumpsters need to be covered by a certain type of screening, walls or siding, because then you don't see that dumpster standing here. And you don't have this pleasure or disgust on that space. That's it. Let's have lunch. So, important takeaway. Places are spaces with felt value, identity, and culture. And the last 2 hours we spent on what? How we use material in site planning and architecture to advance our site, our place. Create something more. All right. Let's break for half an hour. Let's come back at 1.
you doing this defensive?
Yes, sir.
How demanding is your time to be funded?
Not very
You're
good.
doing like 1 year, right?
Yeah.
What do you do? Real estate.
What's up with real estate?
Information.
On what capacity?
I'm a broker.
Broker?
You do real estate work?
Broker or sales then?
Yeah.
Alright.
How broke are you?
I'm sorry, are you talking to him? You're a broker? How broke are you?
I'm just messing.
It's
My
a
bad.
that's
That's a joke. That's a joke.
That's my best joke. My best real estate joke.
Not as broke as it may seem. But I've been there.
Oh man, we just have a great sense of humor. But yeah, I mean, I'm a general contractor.
Okay.
So I do construction during the week, and then most of the stuff I subcontract that out, and I have employees that work, so I'm more from the
Doc,
supervisor.
what's going on, man?
You
Graduated, what's
I do everything on the computer.
Right,
So
but you work out, you do it like 8 to 5.
Man, I love
It's fine. I work like 17 hours a day. So,
Yeah.
the
That was
hard
my,
part is you gotta find the balance.
personal fifth commencement.
Find the balance as you're not gonna get all A's at a single class.
Okay.
That was the problem that I had. I tried to get all A's and it was like hard.
Right.
Working time. I was taking the classes full time. You gotta read the books. You gotta do the assignments. You gotta like.
Do you have a lot of time in the code?
Some classes. But if you just
Yeah,
go
yeah,
with the
that's
flow
my,
and know that some classes you do well,
Oh,
because some classes still do
right.
the law class, because you guys draft contracts and all that stuff. It's easy for you to
Right.
do, not even show up to class and do well in it. And then you have classes that you actually have to.
Show me yours,
I understand what I'm talking about. There's some classes you do online, so there are some classes that you do online, so you don't have to do class.
And the classes online
Trash,
are
right?
easy.
Is it all of them? Because my name's not on any.
Your name ain't on there?
No.
Uh-oh.
Do they have a CC here? No seat, oh, there it is.
What's your, oh,
What's your name?
It's K and an S. But it's Kristen.
oh, did you sign that list? Did you sign the list?
Yeah, I did.
Let me go back over there.
Software, software analysis. It's one of the classes that you do online, and it's basically where you drop up like performance and stuff like that.
Didn't have soup?
What's one of the classes that we take online?
A soup?
Yeah.
I don't know. Y'all know this lunch guy, I'm feeling in. I'm feeling in.
I think you're afraid that you'll
That roll.
I'm feeling in for Kyle.
You fired.
I'm fired on my day off. I don't think you have soup anymore.
Oh,
I
thanks,
put
right
it
there.
in. Now I gotta go check on my soup.
I'm trying to think. Oh, the construction
Which one go
class is
check?
online. This class used to be
But she
online.
lives in hood.
Okay,
What you
so
want?
It's just that
He's
that
from
same
Jersey,
turkey
and
sandwich
he
that
lived in
everybody
Idaho,
gets, I don't
so
know, has
most
like
of
bacon
these
in
classes were
it.
online, and he relocated down into Florida, so
The turkey punch?
Yeah.
Okay.
there we go.
I think that's all the
This
classes
is
that we
funny.
took online, but
I had graduated.
Volume normally sends out
I'll go
like,
over it again.
what do you call it, like
I
a
don't feel like watching
class
it.
schedule, like you can see all the classes that are on online.
Now, so you basically taking all the classes, right?
Yes, yeah, because I mean Saturday for me, it's a little bit
I'll just go,
slow.
don't worry.
Right, yeah, of course.
What you doing
Yeah,
testing?
weekdays,
What?
it's just
San
crazy.
Miguel? No,
Weekdays are just
Last Saturday.
crazy fun.
Oh, I got like 8 or
When are
something.
you gonna be done?
I mean, all the ones I mentioned was on
August.
the first
Actually, technically, we're already
material.
done.
Really?
Okay.
Very
Easy
walk
shit.
stage.
I was like, how did I
But they ain't
miss
gonna
that?
start diploma, so.
Okay, alright. Okay.
Yeah, the first quiz I did the
we
worst
still
too
trying.
because of the same reason.
And
Just
what do you
dumb
plan to do
mistakes. Yeah.
after it? I mean, you have
First
your
quiz.
so you're doing
Yeah.
this
The first quiz that we took for investments?
Yes.
Boom.
Boom. One thing about
Forget.
construction,
Yeah, I did the worst on that one.
when
Just
the
did
market
dumb
is
mistakes. Like I
when
didn't
the
change
market
it.
is
Yeah,
bad,
yeah,
you
yeah.
find other
One
things
as
to
well.
get yourself into.
Some
So
mistakes.
I'm thinking when the market crashes to construction, take the money that I have in construction and start.
Yeah, I got 100 on that.
Uh-oh. Have you found
Oh, you need it. Oh, that's what you were
And
saying.
super.
So did you do the test last week then?
Of course.
I asked
Did you think
you.
you were down here
They
and now
have
you're up
soup, so
here?
they get your salad.
Knowledge wise or?
So it looks like the next one, the next one goes well. With all this tax thing before tax, we'll see.
No, I wasn't there. No problem.
You get to understand more about yourself, like prior to going to the program, like I used to think about everything, and then going through the program, like halfway through, I realized that stuff will always happen, so might as well go with the flow. I used to be like a super overachiever, and then all the stuff that I have to juggle, you start to realize that you can do it. Yeah,
Take
yeah,
the,
like,
case
stuff,
study
yeah,
for
you gotta
second.
balance it, do the ones that you do.
We'll work on it tomorrow.
Some things you just gotta let go.
You ready?
Started reading it
Then
yesterday.
knowledge wise, I learned about performance.
That's the question you gave us,
That's
it's
what I
just
was
dumb,
never
man.
because we always, again, people in the program, you guys talk after class,
Like all that
and you debate
bullshit
about
question on
stuff,
the
and
Excel spreadsheet.
different
Why is
people
that so
understand
important?
things
That
different.
double line, all
Cap
those
rates,
Yeah.
cap rate, that's a rate of return. It's still
That's
wrong.
what get ready.
It's not him, so I don't
Yeah,
take
I'm
say
agree
his face, but cap rate
And
goes
quizzes.
in,
Quizzes
and
supposed
cap
to
rate
assess
goes
you
down,
what
stays
the
the same.
teachers are watching.
Now, when you go in with a cap rate, you became.
You still talking about that?
You're still wrong, sir.
No, I'm not wrong.
Bro,
You're
what you're
incorrect.
talking about is a rate of
I
return.
can't play
That is
this
not
kind of game
cap
with my
rate.
students.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
It's
rate
the
of
same
return.
shit.
first assignment that it means, it's kind of crazy.
This is what you get.
It's the same thing.
Bro, you
Yeah, it's
cannot
great
sell a
play.
building that you bought for $1 million for $1 million.
I never said that though. You're
Okay,
not
if
understanding
your
the
cap rate,
concept.
think about it like
You're
this,
not
if your
understanding the
cap rate-
concept.
See? If your cap rate changes, let's say you bought a house for $1 million.
The cap rate
At
changes because you
10%.
you raise the value, you raise the income.
Your rate of return changes.
Hey man, there's three variables in the equation. If you change one,
You gotta change the other ones.
no, it influences, impacts one the others.
But this is what I'm saying. You have a going in cap rate, like Steve said. You have a going in cap rate and a sales cap rate. And then during the transaction, like if something goes up, your rate of return, like your IRR, is what changes.
K and an S.
It's home, it's not.
You gotta think about it. There's two different perspectives. As a buyer, whatever you want to buy at a higher cap rate because that's a higher return for you,
Right.
right? Right. So if you buy at a 5% and you do renovation or whatever, and you raise the income coming in, right? That's gonna raise
Your rate
of return,
There you go.
which then affects your cap. It's the same thing.
You're a realtor, right? Yeah.
This is what I would say. You kinda
Wait, so
right,
you're
but
saying I'm
he's
wrong?
right. You know, what I'm trying
He
to say
doesn't
is-
care about
No.
me.
Where you? I want to know where you're going, but who are you defending right now?
He's not an attorney. He's a realtor.
The whole thing is this, the whole thing is this, you're buying at a cap rate, right? You say 5%. And as time goes on, you make improvements to the property.
Right.
Your rate of return goes up. So say
Right.
that now you're making 20% on your money.
Right, but you're
And
not
when
gonna
you-
sell at 20%.
Right, when
you're
you
gonna
go
sell
it
whatever
at
the
whatever
the
5,
market
6%, whatever the market is
Right,
at that time.
right.
So what went up is not your cap rate, is your internal rate of return.
There you go.
When you sell,
Ding, 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 ding.
you're selling at a cap rate.
But that's what I was.
But
that's what I
it's,
was explaining to you.
Just let it go, man.
No, that's
You just
what I
want to
was
be
explaining
so
to you.
right
No, that's what I was
that he knows that
explaining
he's
to you.
wrong.
but they,
No.
but, I mean, it's just the understanding of it. But basically the calculation is the same, kind of.
You're wrong.
Like if you were to sell it, for example, if you were to sell it at $1 million, if you were to sell it at $1 million,
You found
your
your sandwich?
cap rate will be
Yes.
then
What
equals
happened?
to your rate of return,
Right,
which will be
right.
20%.
Right.
And you don't want to do that.
Exactly, but that's what I'm saying.
But I think you both are saying the same thing. You're just looking at it from
And
different.
he's not understanding it in the way I'm understanding it.
KSQS, same thing.
I want to see you.
Hey, Paul.
Excuse me right here, dog. I'm gonna start full time, and then I want to see how it is.
There's 6 courses in the fall.
We gotta bring back Kyle.
Like 2 first, and then
Yeah, that's how it's divided. Like, so I'm
Right.
in, you're the same cup here in Hurlingham, I'm in one in the first part, and then one in the second part. So I'll see you.
Okay. Like Mama Bird.
Where do you work?
Spit it in
I
your
have
mouth.
real estate broker, so I have my own company.
Okay, where is it?
Miami.
Oh, okay.
It's not good. I
How
have-
far are you, like,
I
around?
drove this morning, Miami Lakes, I live in Miami Lakes, so I drove this morning and it was, I mean,
See,
from
I
my,
bet
door
you
of my
for a
house
scout
to
doing the
here.
lunch, ain't nobody gonna ask you all this
I
stuff.
suggest you do the weekend program,
stressed me out.
the weekday program if you're commuting from Miami, because you're not.
The traffic will be crazy, right?
Yeah, I used to work in Doral, and then,
Why don't you just do the UN program? What's the UN program? You see?
Like
What's the
trader?
program? They have real estate development.
Well, they do, but it's combined with the architectural school.
Oh, okay.
So you can have an architectural degree and then you
Nah,
take certain
shit
courses and they give you
Like
urban development.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I think, yeah.
It's not the
That shit is a lost cause.
And the one that I do is, it is more geared towards
Yeah, like she comes to the
financial
lost class like when there's like
financial
20 minutes
Yeah,
left in
side.
class.
It's not like
It's
that.
just like,
It's a lot more math.
We're all-
like,
like,
can I get your limits? Can I get
Right.
Come to class, like.
So, but yeah, that's what I thought. I thought that
Yeah, cause she was so nice. Like a
Tuesdays
nice
and
person.
Thursday,
That's
that,
the
you know, I'll
problem.
probably have to be leaving home
I'm not trying to be
before,
nice people.
just to make it by 6 or whatever time.
And they finish class like around 10 or 11 o'clock.
no, it's
That's
not
right.
11. It's not even 10. I think that was 11.
Broker,
I
what?
think that.
I mean,
I don't know, let's find out.
Because I
hours
have
a week do you work?
working.
He's the resident.
Well, why didn't you do that here in the morning?
That's not-
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
I mean, I work full
I'm
time.
here every
I
other
work
week.
50, 60 hours a week.
Oh.
And doing the program
I'm
full time.
2-year-old, so it's like every
Not
week
even
I'm
really
working.
It's just my life, yeah. I chose to do it in the year just to get out of the way, but I wish I would have slowed down.
But I have that in the
We're in
law.
here now. Can you slow down once you start?
You live in Miami.
If you hold all 4 courses, it's up to you to learn all 6 courses, it's up to you to
I
drop
work
them,
here,
and
so I'm here
you
every
know, if
day.
you don't get room on the
So
floor,
only
that's
on
up to you.
Tuesday.
Right.
You know,
Frederick
cut
Jackson.
out yeah, if you start one semester, do full time, you can do the next semester.
Frederick
Part-time, just, right. In case that you
But
find
is that
something
himself?
It is overwhelming.
Oh my god.
You know,
I thought
in our
it
first
was
semester, it was like,
Class
we had
here,
this
right?
big project and we didn't know what the hell.
He was at the class, I mean, he was at the graduation.
Who's CR?
But like,
I
yeah,
like
he's
that.
like a full-time employee, so like, that's even worse for him. Like, yeah, like.
As I said, certain classes,
Oh, you know what that is?
Oh, sorry, the lady in our group.
Well, he has to do it.
Just not your first
Come
semester.
in late,
You're
it's
gonna
ridiculous.
find out.
This is what areas, now I have.
That's it.
But
Oh, you stealing her food?
It's the easier ones first, I guess. I was talking
She
to
makes
my-
up.
That's why I know
Hey,
most
what
of
she doesn't know.
She already ate.
But like,
Right.
I like to go around. Like this class is okay, cause like everyone here is super nice and like, but I
She
presented
she
class
looks like she had a couple.
they're I don't know.
Oh,
Nobody
boy.
talks to each other in the class.
No. Oh, but they still new.
Oh, yeah,
They
just
could
a
keep-
broker.
They're like younger, yeah. They're not.
No, he said he's
It
not
doesn't
broke.
seem. I don't think they're people.
Oh, he's a broker.
He's broke, he's
I can see him.
Nobody really talks in
But
that class,
he's
and
not
it's
broke.
so intense. Like,
What's this sports stuff?
Okay. Yes.
He was telling people that are from our class to do the Tuesday.
Yes.
Because the Saturday you do one quiz. They do them all 3.
Yes.
So that's,
Yeah.
we did that last semester.
You do two.
And
You
like,
do 2 quizzes and a test. That's why you're there till like
Well, I was
11
getting
or
on the
something.
same day.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then the same class on
You
Saturday.
do realize he sent the slides,
One
right?
piece of it.
One
That
piece.
might not be
Every
the
time.
slide.
That's why I
Saturday.
said, do it. Oh my
The
god.
last
To your
slide.
point, our cohort came on the same family, so we went to the cruise together.
Oh yeah, we went on a cruise.
Yeah, we
Oh
went
my
on
god.
the cruise.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so
what I'm
we're
saying.
all
Do Saturday.
Yeah.
We're all in rare form of that cruise. It was a lot of fun.
If I do a review,
You guys were
I'll say, this is what
The way you
done
guys
last week.
plan to do like that.
Last time.
He works at
They're
Outbreak now.
Views, yeah, yeah.
So you don't see, you don't see the slide 50 times.
You can create them what you do now.
What is it you like?
I work for home development, we do multifamily, apartments
Order like
specifically.
Get my
toast.
All over. I mean, we're in South Florida, Central, Northern, we're in Texas.
So for example, you're here by
They ain't got the oven today.
this semester, just like do what analysis?
No, well, I'm already involved with development.
Real
So I
estate
basically do
development.
everything from soup to nuts from beginning to end. I joined this program just to kind of get more of a general understanding
Right.
of what it is I'm doing. You know, I do a lot of tasks, and I don't know why I'm doing it sometimes, I just do it. So sitting at the program, I can sit there and ask questions and figure out, okay, well, that's in the program.
Yeah.
Very.
Because I mean, you probably have like a good place.
And I
He's
see
really
that
good.
before.
He's really good hands-on with the financial stuff. I would give it to him to it really easily.
I said that before, is that students that come into the program and no real estate experience is a lot
Like
harder.
me.
No, I find that hard.
Like I'm
I'm
that.
involved.
Not, but like I said, there's classes like this one that you like understand and it's easy. Well, not easy, but it's easier.
Right.
Yeah.
But not.
You definitely learn a lot.
You just a broker.
Yeah.
What kind of asset classes do you guys deal with?
No, I mean you're a real estate broker full time.
Right, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
That's
yes.
what I'm saying.
Yes, yes.
I didn't mean it.
No, I didn't mean that. I wasn't like, what else could it be?
No, because people do like broker like side.
Like part time?
Yeah.
No. You can't do it. I mean, you can, but it's really,
What kind of asset classes do you deal with?
I do, it's all residential. So I'm not really,
Do you vacant land as well?
I do, but, a lot here, a lot there, whenever they show up. I'm not really going after that, because I do mostly sales. So I try to concentrate on the residential, and just because it's, the turnover is quicker. So what I wanna,
You have a car?
I do.
You know, like single family, townhome, larger?
Yeah, and then for investments, multifamily, usually small stuff first. This is my personal. There you go. First. Thank you. Right. That's it, up here.
Did you see the
I'm not
picture I
worried
sent
about
to
that.
you?
And,
You on Facebook?
I've been doing this for 13 years, so
Yeah.
I've taken a lot of courses, commercial
Come in and
courses
back.
and all that, so I have an
Seven
idea.
a.m.
It's
on
really
day,
the
man.
content, yeah, it's the intensity.
But yeah, what I'm curious is the
This
amount.
card.
That's what I was concerned about.
Mine is Renee.
Because Monday, right now without this, like right now, I got an agent that is showing property for me. I need to catch him and see, we can close the deal. So I'm always doing something.
Yeah,
Something's
man,
happening
my
along the way
graduation
that's kind of
pics.
off. I'm thinking, well, add this and everything
Yeah.
else. That's my only concern.
Yeah.
Maybe you start with 2 classes.
Yeah, I don't, yeah, I'll do that when I start.
Yeah, because everybody's like victims like
Right.
I just wanted to figure that out.
That's what I want to do too. I see myself doing this for 2 years.
That's usually
I
cool.
didn't have a
I do
child.
appreciate it.
And I also, I wanted to, I can only take 2, it'll only cover 2
And both
courses.
ways
courses.
So I really have.
because mom will see you down.
Right.
Yeah, if you have family, it's it should be quick.
Oh my gosh.
Like I have no life right now. Like I can't even give a girlfriend.
I'm pretty sure, yeah, I'm pretty sure. that
Well, that's
people
like,
will be,
I feel like I'm like drowning right now.
I learned from my.
And
And you're the financial expert in your tweet.
I don't know, like, I don't know how
Okay.
anybody's
You're running
all
your
classes.
demo on the Excel spreadsheet.
They make that. I mean,
Today?
you can full
Yeah,
time, full time.
just to make sure that you know.
Because
all
really,
the-
the way it's is, I'm always taking body classes. That's an actual thing.
That's the least that
Right.
you take on this.
Man, I remember
No,
I
no,
was
no.
like 4, like bad.
No, because
like
you
after
take,
round 2,
like on fall 1, you take 2 for the whole thing about work.
Like,
And then on fall 2, you take 2 for the whole class. So at any given time, you're only taking 3 classes.
No, but now we're taking 4. It could either be 3 or 4.
I used
Ah,
to
okay,
teach
I
GS
see.
classes.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
left some sneakers,
That's true.
because I'm running around all day.
There was like only this one and another semester.
You know,
No,
I was actually.
Do you guys have like a lot of homework, or is it like on outside?
And
Oh,
the class is actually interesting, but
you say
and
you
it's
spend
something
like 5
that you're
hours a
supposed to
week.
do, like accounting, extra
Outside.
you got accounting. But
I feel like
I
it
don't
depends
think
on
it's
what
the way
you want
he
to do,
teaches
like
the
in the
class,
class.
Well, let's say you want to keep it between these
but
and
I can't find.
You're gonna have to spend a long time. Like, I started that investments class the first couple weeks I did study. The last week I studied like 10 hours probably.
Like realistically, like so our test is gonna be based off of this. Right. So I only read
Every 20 minutes I tune that
I
and
read
that's
like the first 2 chapters. But I've read it and doing notes. That takes time. Doing one chapter, doing notes like explicitly takes like an hour and a half. Like one chapter.
Okay, and
That makes no
I know.
Well, he has notes from there, but like for me to understand, you know,
They also
completely, I
have
gotta
like all
do
the
this.
videos, like they use every class.
I know.
Yeah, they videotape everything.
It's like everything's videotaped.
oh, okay, so you
All the
can
white
You
ones.
can listen in. You can't really see that, but you can listen in.
okay. So I guess also you could have
What is like,
like a weekend, say.
You can do that. You can do that, but it depends on the group. If it's a test week, then
Yeah, they're nice. Like I have a wedding. I let them know when I first started the class. I'm gonna miss for a week and a half. So I was like, I'm gonna miss the Tuesday night and the Saturday. And I guess because there's 2 sections in which I just have to just pick it up and I had to make the quiz and like the Saturday class after. But the lecture itself I can watch like online instead. And then this class, they're not really doing anything that class is missing, so it's like just a whole lot.
And then until the next week, you are
Yeah.
Because I'm going to my email and just my Excel. That's good to know.
That's what somebody told me too.
fundamental concepts of exercise.
You get Word as well.
What's the same class?
I need it. That's my reason.
there's a sign.
You missed one of Sammy Ghost classes. I dropped it. You were.
So go for
Yeah, I think one of our classes in fall too.
He would go on a
Yeah,
tangent about.
he's like 3, 4
Yeah,
months.
yeah.
Because I want to take on.
No, I don't know.
Those 2 dudes.
Graduation is yesterday, so I don't know.
The disclaimer.
But I know that.
Totally I don't fail. Yeah, put down the pictures.
Like,
Nice meeting you. Best of luck.
he's a very intelligent guy. I think he's very, very,
Wait, so what are you
I like him as a person.
I'll see you eventually.
Show her a job.
Yeah, I
Hey,
hope so.
bro.
I hope so.
I'm running everywhere.
I think I just gave him out.
Oh,
Come on, man. You ain't going to
I know he was a
You like to flavor between us.
You dropped the internship.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. Like, I wanted to meet some of the people and,
The way I
Because I
was sitting
don't have a car, getting there, they were paying me.
yeah, no, right. No, it's just, I'm starting in the fall. I mean,
I mean, it would have, but they weren't
Yeah.
like for sure gonna hire. They were like, oh, we don't know.
so, that's the plan. But I wanted to take a chance and,
get a feel for it.
get a feel for it.
Like 5 people.
You should reach out to him. Pretty good.
But I understand. For our laundry, any comments?
No.
I do want to stay here.
I think he's.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay here.
Oh, you know the FIU?
I did go to FIU. That was one of my majors,
Hey?
philosophy.
Yeah, to be somewhere
Like
different.
that.
Perfect to my lecture today.
Exactly. Yeah.
I had the most amazing.
But what I've been doing also, because I have my LinkedIn on
on
like different areas, so I get the updates every day.
folks, if you know.
I would like contact the companies and say, hi, my name is blah blah, I'm graduating from this. I would like to like learn about any future opportunities, blah blah, and like that.
That's a complicated
That's
approach.
how hard is it to get a job?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, you, like everyone else. It's
Yeah.
Well, most of you already
Or Congress, yeah. It's right here, especially.
I think the partners are very good understanding of what you need to do.
So it's
For non-county specific.
Actually,
Also gives you, puts your foot in the door essentially.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, is there like opportunity?
I think there is personally. I haven't
That's right.
personally experienced it.
I'll see you guys.
You just,
Thank you.
Take your steps, sir.
I think there is.
Stop helping
Chad, for example,
people out, man.
he's working for you.
Broker.
You didn't have to do this work.
I can't, I need some deals, man. I need to see another deal. Yeah, I
I
need to.
think Ford always sends out emails too.
But they haven't said anything.
Email you sent?
So,
I look at the attachment, I read all of it.
Really? I just.
I didn't get anything.
I didn't have anything from her either. You mentioned it somewhere.
Graduation.
Who else was here?
I haven't got an email like that in a long time. Right.
I walked in and somebody was talking about this. I missed it. Oh.
Can you go back a couple slides? I missed the slide too when I was getting lunch for you. Beautiful.
You still have time, right?
Thank you.
You kept lecturing while I was out.
Which one do you need?
That was the only one, the one with the, that was it? That was the only one I missed?
I don't know, when did you leave?
I know.
Alright, let's go back.
No, it was.
This one
I
is
seen all that. I seen all that. All that. Lance, I seen that. Yeah, that's, I guess that's all that. And that's still on the plants?
Alright. That's right. Steve.
What are we missing?
Steve. And that's fine. Doing fine. Everyone is in food coma. That's why it's wake up. Wake up.
Big Bear's up. It's just the power.
What? So what?
No, you said wake up, and I'm like, I don't think he was sleeping. Yeah. It's not good about that food.
How would you know this is like a real estate agent?
Doesn't it say it?
Unless I'm.
Alright.
Oh, it said really? So, email.
You do know that I will post that as a PDF.
Let me see, I think.
I don't know. And it's on Wikipedia,
Yeah,
so if
I
you
think
just
it does a
Google
whole bunch of things.
Stuff like
Yeah,
that.
he has a lot of
All this
different
stuff.
presents you that definition.
What is- what's all
He's a
that?
teacher.
Oh.
He does all this.
He's a workaholic. You see
What's
the
this other
glasses,
thing?
man? An overachiever.
Alright.
The magna cum laude of our class.
Oh, okay, I get it. So this is just like a general thing.
All his contact is here.
Magna cum laude
Wait, do we have a napkin? Is there a napkin? An extra napkin?
and
Thank you.
I'm part of the O-Law.
So I wanna build a school.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
I have a curriculum in mind and everything.
You've
always
always
said
school
that
that
since I
they
met
shut
you.
down in downtown Hollywood. It's like the whole building structure is completely shut down, and they're looking for someone to buy it. It was
Is it in a circle?
I don't know. Somebody was telling me about it.
Oh, okay.
I have no idea, but I know they said it was in downtown Hollywood.
It's gotta be in a circle. I wonder if it's been known. Where's the circle? Downtown Hollywood?
Like, you're talking about Young
Wendy, you
Circle?
ready?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think there's
Oh,
no
I
schools in
forgot.
that
When you-
circle.
There is, it's been gone yet.
Alright,
Good to go.
thank you.
It's a Jewish school.
On your mark, bro.
Yeah, but I just feel like there's a lot of things that are missing.
It's like what?
Alright,
Education system still,
let's talk about hot topics a little bit.
like, kids learning about where they come from,
Oh, never. Okay.
diversity, race, and all that stuff.
That's awesome. Because
Yeah,
we're a big
well,
melting
we're-
pot in South Florida of different cultures.
No, not Florida in general, I'm talking about in the
Altogether.
urban spaces.
Alright, let's give them just how a minute. Let's start.
Because I feel like I didn't really learn about what
Who you
race
were.
was until college.
Me too. Until somebody called me Puerto Rican.
Right, right, exactly. So I didn't like know,
No, you're probably right.
you know. So I feel like if you learn at a younger age,
At a demographic level,
demographic level, how society perceives you
Uh-oh.
as an individual,
I understand. It
you
creates
will
an
learn.
identity.
You will learn certain things. You know what I mean? Okay.
I bet I don't like that.
Oh, listen here, listen. There are things.
Huh?
Draw your attention to me.
Oh, sorry, they gonna like
You
that.
said, I thought you just said a minute.
Oh,
and a
no,
half.
yeah, well,